The countdown has already begun. Just a short time from now, Bitcoin is going to experience a major price event. There's no way to stop it. And the moment it happens, it'll change crypto forever. And as I'll explain in detail over the next few minutes, this major price event will impact not only Bitcoin, but the mainstream markets as well. Most average people have never even heard about this event, at least not yet. And very few retail investors are expecting it. But the smart investors who are in the know have already been preparing. In fact, they've been getting ready for this event for more than a year now. So, if you've been thinking of buying Bitcoin, or if you're already holding some crypto assets, or even if you've not gotten into crypto before but have been watching and waiting to see what it's all about, then you'll want to be prepared for this massive, world-changing price event. If you set yourself up correctly and follow a careful, step-by-step playbook, you can use this price event to your advantage. In fact, if you prepare yourself in time, there's even the potential for you to make the biggest gains you've seen in your lifetime. But make no mistake, if you sit on the sidelines, or if you try and ignore it, or if you make even the slightest wrong move, not only will you miss out on what are likely to be the biggest gains in crypto we've seen yet, but you could also be stuck with catastrophic losses caused by the market shift in this major event. You could lose money even if you don't own crypto. I'll explain why in just a moment. Because the truth is that Bitcoin is going to become more valuable, whether you like it or not. And its trillion-dollar role in the economy is going to grow. You see, Bitcoin was carefully designed from the very beginning to make itself more valuable. It was written right into the core of its code, and nobody can change or alter it. They also can't speed it up or slow it down. So when Bitcoin makes itself more valuable during this price event, it's not doing so based on the whims of the Fed or debt-loving politicians or based on some agenda. Tech lords, computer programmers, and even hackers can't change it either. Bitcoin has become the trillion-dollar asset that it is because it has consistently, without the input of anyone or any government, ticked block by block across its blockchain without any intervening. This Bitcoin price event is a hardwired mechanism that's locked tight inside its original code as a failsafe to combat inflation. It's called the halving, and it's happened 3 times already. And each time the halving occurs, it's led to a surge in price exactly as it was intended to do. So here's how it works. Each time a Bitcoin transaction takes place, it's written as a single line in a long spreadsheet called a block. It doesn't matter if the transaction is tiny or massive, it goes in the block. And the information on these blocks is shared worldwide by anyone who uses Bitcoin, creating what's known as a blockchain. Now, I'm sure you've likely heard this word before today. That's because the blockchain is at the core of Bitcoin's technology. And it's also the code of the blockchain that sets these price events known as halvings. As I said, the first 3 have already happened. Now, I know all of this probably sounds very technical, but it really is more straightforward than you might think. The halving simply means that there won't be as many new Bitcoins created as before. Exactly half, in fact, and that's why it's called the halving. The people who run the computers that process Bitcoin transactions are called miners, and they're paid for their efforts by mining transaction fees called rewards. In order to keep the incentives high for miners and prevent inflation caused by too many rewards, Bitcoin cuts the reward amounts during these halvings. It's a brilliant design, and it's why Bitcoin has continued to grow in value. And it's also why the halving is such a major price event for Bitcoin, because it limits inflation and kicks price growth into high gear. As I said earlier, the halving was built into Bitcoin by careful design. It was put there from the very beginning as a way to combat what would otherwise be inevitable inflation. So at the end of the day, It's simple supply and demand. Smaller mining supply, more value. A helpful way to think about it is as a doubling of that value, especially since the halving causes Bitcoin to gain value relative to other currencies, including the dollar. Thanks to the halving, Bitcoin's value is going to increase against the dollar all of a sudden in a single moment. And the same goes for the euro, and the won, and the pound, and the yen. It doesn't matter what currency we're talking about, Bitcoin is moving up. And it's going to increase in value relative to gold as well, and to all other major commodities. Now, I know a lot of this may sound confusing or complex, but truly, again, it really is just good old supply and demand. Simple as that. And sure, while there are a few technical details involved for those who care about that kind of thing, you honestly don't need to worry about any of those. They don't matter for what counts. For example, I personally don't know much about working on cars or engines. I'm no expert at what's going on under the hood. But that's never stopped me from using a car to get to work on time, or kept me from off-roading trucks, or from driving stick, or from racing through the desert in a $300,000 sports car. I think you get my point. You don't need to know the greasy details of how to rebuild an engine to be a successful driver. And you don't need to be a wonky crypto programmer to be a successful Bitcoin investor. And thankfully, we also have an expert to help us along. And that's my longtime friend and colleague, Digest Publishing's own crypto guru, Chris Curl. He's an expert to Bitcoin's doubling deadline. And he made me incredible returns during the last crypto boom. I was there. It was thanks to Chris's recommendation that I was able to make 1,033% on the cryptocurrency Phantom. I turned the $4,000 that I invested into $41,320. That's real money from a real return. And other investors were able to make even more on Chris's other recommendations, including 2,133% on Ethereum Classic, 6,011% on SafeMoon, and then 9,450% on Dogecoin. That's a good one. So Chris has also been making triple-digit gains over the past few months, even during crypto's hardest moments. These include prescient calls on Solana, Bonk, Polkadot, Polygon, Samoyed, and Radium. And it's important to note that Chris has made all these returns while also steering clear of crypto's pitfalls. Chris encouraged his readers not to buy into the ill-fated FTX. And he and his readers haven't lost a single dollar to Sam Bankman-Fried or to other bad actors in the space. Chris even published an article calling Sam Bankman-Fried the devil, weeks before the news had broken about that fraudulent scandal. Chris's readers were never in danger. Chris has a keen sense of how to sift through the hype and find real, lasting value in what's new. And that's why he's our guide to capitalizing on this trillion-dollar event. But let me be clear, by the time the halving arrives, it'll be way too late to position yourself for the biggest profits. For all of you watching at home, we've flown to Austin, Texas to record this video you're watching now, which announces the release of Chris's step-by-step playbook for making money on this major event. Chris, thanks so much for taking the time to join us and for walking us through the impact of what's shaping up to be a massive historical event.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I've been investing in the crypto space for years now, and this is the event I've been waiting for. As you were saying earlier, John, there have already been 3 halvings, and each time it's led to a major increase in the price of Bitcoin. We're about to experience the 4th and what I believe will be the biggest and most significant halving. But to understand this, let's go back to the beginning. Let's take a look at what happened during the first halving in 2012. Before the first halving, Bitcoins were worth less than $12 each. Most Bitcoin investors at that time were doing all of the Bitcoin mining themselves. And so most Bitcoins came from a new increase in supply. The first halving changed all that. It occurred on November 28th, 2012. And just as planned, the mining reward dropped from 50 Bitcoin per block to 25 in a single instant. The effect on supply and demand was immediate. Within a matter of weeks, the price of Bitcoin began to surge. And by the end of 2014, it had grown, get ready for it, 80 times. That's right. All of those early investors made 80 times their money, enough to turn a $13,000 investment into more than $1 million. Many of those investors bought new houses with cash. Others made extravagant purchases such as Lamborghinis and boats. As you can imagine, this attracted a lot of notice. And it was during this period that most people heard the word Bitcoin for the first time, as news headlines told the world about this strange new kind of digital asset. And not all of these early investors were spendthrifts. Smart early investors moved that cash into other assets or held on for further gains. As you'll hear, while that required additional patience, it proved to be a winning strategy. Which brings us to the second halving, which occurred on July 9th, 2016. And the second halving proved that the effect of this anti-inflationary mechanism wasn't a one-off. This was a consistent event that moves the price of Bitcoin, just as it was intended to do. It also helped that by this point, Bitcoin had attracted the notice of a lot of investors, hedge funds, and VCs. And so when the second halving reduced the supply of new Bitcoins, the law of supply and demand had a profound effect on Bitcoin's value. The price went up from $2,000 to $20,000, all in a matter of months. It was the value doubling effect against the dollar that pushed Bitcoin over $10,000 and then over $20,000 because the value increased relative to the dollar. Now, as you likely already noticed, the actual effect on the price is a lot bigger than just double. That's because, as the anti-inflationary mechanism that it is, the increase in value creates an incentive to hold and save, an increase in new investors, and an increase in strength against traditional fiat currencies. The actual effect of each doubling has been exponential, pushing its value up 10x from its previous price. The third halving occurred on May 11th, 2020. That was also during the early days of the pandemic, when growing uncertainty also motivated investors to consider alternative investments like Bitcoin. And it was that third halving that ignited what we know now as the first real crypto bull market. Despite its sizable market cap, which had by this point grown to almost $1 trillion, it was only the beginning. The price of Bitcoin soared all the way to $69,000 and pushed up the market cap to more than $2.5 trillion. So, John, I'll be blunt. We're just a short time away from the fourth halving. All three previous halvings have had an outrageous effect on Bitcoin's value, and giving its growing acceptance in the mainstream markets and an increase in stability and regulatory oversight, the fourth halving is going to be the biggest growth event we've seen. It functions like a digital version of gold.
Just wow. I mean, this is truly powerful stuff. Now, I know that crypto gets a little bit abstract sometimes and that all of this having talk sounds so technical. So perhaps let's discuss another asset that's a little more known and straightforward, that's a little closer to home. Let's talk about gold. So gold is an asset, and its limited supply has kept it anchored against other currencies for literal centuries, millennia. Except that gold is, unfortunately, often not anchored enough. There's still a lot of gold in the ground, and that's not going to change. It's only the seesaw of production and prices that's keeping the value of gold in check.
That's right. But what if it could be improved? What if it were possible for the value of gold to double all at once in a single moment? Imagine that on a specific day, just a few months from now, the amount of all that gold in the ground were to change, and all the world's gold miners would find their yields magically cut in half. An ounce of gold that's hidden in the ground instantly becomes half an ounce. But any gold that's already been dug up, including the gold in your safe, that remains the same. Voila. In a single moment, the value of the gold you hold has increased. The supply of new gold has, in the blink of an eye, dropped to exactly half. That's what the halving is doing. It's an extremely powerful anti-inflationary mechanism, and it's an essential feature of Bitcoin. It's made me money as a Bitcoin investor 3 times now, and it's going to do it again in what's set to be the most significant halving event yet. And of course, most significant of all, it's unstoppable, and the minutes are counting down.
Well, without a doubt, it couldn't be more urgent or more relevant because, let's be honest, I mean, inflation has eaten up so much value over the past few years, and that's why gold and now Bitcoin is soaring so much in price. It's all we've got. I feel like this is a good time for me to also bring up a recent quote from Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset firm with $10 trillion under management. So Fink said, "Crypto is digitizing gold in so many ways. As I have said in the past, we are a believer in the digitization of products. ETFs were a big revolution for the mutual fund industry, and they are really taking over the mutual fund industry. We believe if we can create more tokenization of assets and securities, and that's what Bitcoin is, that could once again revolutionize finance." And then here's the best part. Fink said that he anticipates Bitcoin being used, and I quote, "instead of gold as a hedge against inflation." And let me tell you, as I'm sure you know all too well, we've never needed a powerful anti-inflationary mechanism more than right now, because inflation is pushing your dollars in the wrong direction. As I'm sure all of you watching at home will likely agree, the dollars in our pocket have a dangerous problem. They don't go as far as they used to. A dollar is only as valuable as the goods it can buy. Remember all of the prices that you used as a kid? Those prices are now a funny memory to look back on. In fact, I have a clear memory of counting out $2.78 in bills and change to buy a meal at the local burger shop when I was 10 years old. Well, today, that same meal would cost at least 4 times that amount. And those numbers are moving fast. Honestly, it doesn't even matter what age you are. What happened in your childhood, for those who are watching at home, what happened in my childhood and Chris's childhood, and even in the childhoods of millennials who were only born 20 years ago. Well, now those numbers are moving by as much as 40% a year. And then way, way back in 2020, remember 2020? Even though it's only been just a couple of years, the prices of so many goods are now double what they were in 2020. A $10 hamburger is now 20 bucks. A $5 beer is now a $10 beer. Extra sauce used to be free, now it's $2. And everybody wants higher tips at more places because everyone is being squeezed by this high cost of living.
Absolutely. And true inflation is only going to get worse as the decade drags on. Uncle Sam's printing press and dizzying debt payments are also hurting your wallet. The Fed can play with the interest rate all they want. And those inflation metrics, even when they claim to indicate improvements, they don't show the full story. None of those things have done enough to slow down runaway prices.
Without a doubt. For example, Fidelity recently sent me a statement reminding me that if I want to retire someday, I'd better adjust my estimates because the dollar amount that I needed to retire when I opened an account 15 years ago has changed significantly, and it's going to keep changing. It's a goal that keeps moving farther and farther away.
And that's exactly why I'm so excited about the halving. It's going to change all of that for early investors. As I've said, it's already done it for me 3 times, and this fourth halving is almost certain to be the biggest and most significant one yet. I've thought long and hard about this, and that's why I put together this step-by-step playbook for making money on this event. I consider it one of the most important investing events of my life, and I'm not going to let it pass me by. I've been telling the readers of my premium publication, Crypto Cycle, about this event for over a year now. They've been eagerly anticipating the release of this playbook. I've researched this event from every angle. And the reason we're recording this in Austin is because it's home to the world's largest Bitcoin mining facilities. And we've spent the week touring their operations and interviewing Bitcoin miners. As you can see, there are billions of dollars that are dedicated to the impact of this price event. And it's why I wanted to investigate the details from the ground up. But here's the good news, John. You don't need to be a Bitcoin miner to make money from this event. You don't need to be a computer programmer or a crypto developer. You don't need to be a hedge fund manager or a venture capitalist. If you follow my step-by-step playbook, all you have to be is an early investor. I've made it as simple as possible. Anyone can do it. It opens up the crypto world for you. It'll give you access to gains that would otherwise be difficult to find. My playbook takes my hard-won crypto research and breaks it down into steps that anyone can follow and use. The moment you get my playbook, you could be up and running in less than an hour or so. And I should add here that my playbook isn't about just buying a bunch of Bitcoin and then calling it a day. While the price of Bitcoin is obviously a key component to my plan, I've used my experience to put together the best way to access the gains from this event, just like I did during the last halving. And everyone watching today will have that same opportunity, just as the investors who follow my work did the last time around. That's why I wrote this playbook, and that's why we're here talking to you today.
Well, let's dive right into the details. Now, I think it will be helpful for all our viewers if we show them why and how this is such a crucial event and the powerful catalysts that are helping drive it. Because as I know you've been writing to your readers over the past few months, it's not just an accident that this fourth halving is going to be so big. There are some major factors that are in play, especially in the macroeconomic environment. I believe you said that there are three catalysts that will make this the most important halving event we've ever seen.
That's right. I'll walk you through each one in turn. So, catalyst number one is easy to point to, and that's the fact that crypto's mainstream moment has truly arrived. For an easy example to get us started, just take a look at Fidelity. Fidelity is one of the most trusted names in the business. And when crypto first came out, they were cautious and careful, as they usually are. And I don't fault them for that. But it meant that they were on the sidelines all during the big gains we saw during the previous three halvings. Now that's all changed. Fidelity has a full-fledged platform for trading cryptocurrencies. So now their customers will have access to some of the potential benefits this time around. It'll result in billions, easily hundreds of billions of institutional funds. And so has BlackRock, which, as you said just a moment ago, John, they're the world's largest asset manager. They have no intention of backing down from Bitcoin. It's the new digital gold, the hedge against inflation, and a growth driver for new profits. Nobody wants to be left behind. And then there's Visa. They have an aggressive plan to use the blockchain as a payment processor. So does MasterCard. And while these programs encountered early roadblocks that led to delays and hesitations over this new technology, we're now seeing those roadblocks disappear. That's what I mean by mainstream moment. I'm not pretending for a second that there haven't been plenty of problems for crypto. In fact, not only have I not had blinders on, I've welcomed crypto's challenges. While I never want to see investors lose money to fraud or to bad stewardship, I'm glad that all the hype has gotten tempered. The bad actors have gotten washed out and the strong projects have survived. And let's be real, John, there's been a smarter way to do all of this. Yes, it's great that major figures like Larry Fink have been supportive, but Bitcoin needed to grow up. And let's not forget, it's brought the price to attractive levels for us as investors, right before the fourth halving. John, I won't lie to you and say that I loved every minute of the so-called crypto winter, but I truly believe the price I'm seeing now for Bitcoin, now that we've made it through most of the major hurdles, and my step-by-step playbook is carefully written to take advantage of Bitcoin's rebound as we springboard off the fourth halving. Honestly, I can't wait.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And I've invested in crypto for years, as you know, and I've even made tens of thousands of dollars in crypto during the last bull market. And while the long crypto winter has felt challenging, you're not kidding that it has sweetened the price point for early investors. So, Chris, I've read your playbook, and I feel lucky to have full access. And what stood out to me is what a steal the current price of Bitcoin is compared to its near-term potential. And not only that, your plan for leveraging that potential, that favorable price point for gains.
I obviously can't give away all the details, but the best part of slugging it out through the challenging years of the crypto markets is that I've learned how to turn setbacks into opportunities. I spell that part of the plan out in detail. And then, most important of all, my plan includes how to position for a major change. This is where language fails us. Major means billions, even hundreds of billions in mainstream moment institutional dollars. That's where we are now, and at a price that puts us in the lead.
And I know part of your plan is to truly play up that part of it.
Absolutely. It's baked in.
So I have to ask, just so that we can get to the bottom of the story, why is now so different compared to last year during that crypto winter?
Well, John, that brings us to catalyst number two. We're in a massive time of accumulation. According to on-chain data tracked by Santiment, the share of supply held by major stakeholders increased by 10% over the past 12 months. Overall, the number of Bitcoin holders has been on the rise. It's grown to more than 420 million worldwide. And then the most important of all is the fact that the number of Bitcoin holders has increased despite the length of the recent crypto bear market. And get this, the supply held by short-term holders has now dropped to the lowest level since 2011. Bitcoin's diehards are buying more and holding on longer because they know what's ahead. And then get this, the CBOE, Chicago Board Options Exchange, one of the world's largest commodity and derivatives exchanges, has just launched a new consolidated platform for Bitcoin futures. That means institutional money. They also have CFTC approval to create new crypto products, which will also be hosted on the exchange. The regulators have given the all clear for investors to start buying in. And that's exactly what this $18 billion heavyweight plans to do. These derivatives will open up entirely new territory for Bitcoin accumulation, giving crypto far more mainstream reach than it's ever had before. Hedge funds and institutions can also use these new financial products to get more access to holding Bitcoin and capitalizing on its growth.
That's a positive sign in every way. So, Chris, what's the third and final catalyst?
There's no mystery to catalyst number three, and that's the fact that the halving is going to happen. There's no argument, no political discussion, no partisan playing sides for advantage. Nobody gets to pick the date of the fourth halving. It's hardwired into Bitcoin itself. And John, I hope you appreciate the scale of this. Billions of dollars of supply and demand is going to change because some code that no human has the power to overwrite. The fourth halving will wait for no one. You could be Elon Musk, the president of the United States. You could be Larry Fink or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or any number of big names in the financial space. It doesn't matter. Yes, those people can throw their weight around in dollar terms, but they don't get to decide anything when it comes to the fourth halving. They know it's coming. Even Warren Buffett has softened on crypto. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he knows value when he sees it. And let's be real, this event is going to change value as we know it. $12 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 35,000 to $60,000. We've seen all these values for Bitcoin already. The fourth halving is, just like the three halving events that preceded it, going to set off a chain of exponential gains for investors.
Well, then let's not waste any time. We're here in Austin, Texas. We've spent the week touring Bitcoin mining facilities. We've talked to developers. We've been talking to major data storage firms. And then, most important of all, to announce the release of this urgent playbook that explains in detail how you can profit from this event as an early investor. So it's called the Bitcoin Breakthrough Playbook, and it'll show you everything that you need for success. It'll guide you step by step in how to prepare for this fourth halving. It'll show you how to use Bitcoin to beat inflation and to get away from Uncle Sam's doomed high interest, high debt nightmare. It'll reveal what to buy in order to make the biggest profits, just as Chris has done before.
As I said earlier, anyone can use this playbook to play the halving like a pro. You don't need to be an expert. You don't have to do anything technical. Even if you've never bought a crypto before in your life, you can still be a part of this. My playbook keeps it simple, straightforward, and focused on profits.
This sounds great. There's no time to waste. Well, we'd like to rush you a copy of the playbook so you can get started right away. Now, the playbook is included as part of the many, many features you'll receive as part of a paid subscription to Chris's premium publication, Crypto Cycle. And if you sign up today, you'll get your copy of the playbook the moment your order is complete. Now, all you need to do is to click the button below to get started. But that's really only the beginning of what you'll receive. So Chris, as you've heard, has spent years investing in the crypto space. He's a crypto investor first and foremost. And part of the reason he's so motivated to cover all these research topics is because he's used it to build his own personal wealth. It's paid off so far. But Chris hasn't sat still. Given the growth potential of everything Chris has been watching, he's also put together two bonus reports that highlight the most urgent areas of his latest research.
Without a doubt, there's a lot happening in the crypto space right now. Finally. As you've heard, I've been waiting for this exact moment, and two of my discoveries are particularly urgent, especially with all of the momentum we've seen recently. That's why I strongly encourage you to make the following two bonus reports part of your subscription package. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into all of this. I never expected to become an expert in the crypto space, much less an editor for something like Crypto Cycle. But the reason I'm here is because I won't rest until I've uncovered what'll make a difference for my own portfolio. And it's been a rewarding joy to have readers who are following along. It keeps me on my game, and I feel lucky every day at the results this research has brought me. So I hope you'll appreciate all the effort that's gone into the profit potential of these two reports. Bonus report number 1, Beyond the Ordinary, Decoding Profits from Bitcoin Ordinals. Bitcoin has completely transformed the financial markets, attracting billions in new investments from Wall Street, hedge funds, and millions of investors. And now it's about to transform the markets again, using a mechanism called ordinals. Ordinals are a genius way for Bitcoin to track and verify the ownership of any unit of value, and to expand Bitcoin's use far beyond digital money. It's new, revolutionary, and outrageously profitable for early investors. If this all sounds complicated, don't worry. I make it stunningly simple in this report. It explains how ordinals work, why they're so effective at solving a value problem that major banks have had for centuries, and why the rapid growth in their use is putting billions into the pockets of smart investors in the know. This report can mint you a fortune all on its own. But you'll also receive bonus report number 2, Illuminating Layer 2, Unlocking Bitcoin's Layer 2 Riches. Bitcoin is growing fast, and the bigger it gets, the more it uses supporting platforms called Layer 2s. Layer 2s are how all of the major crypto exchanges manage Bitcoin, including Coinbase, Binance, and Crypto.com. They're also used by Fidelity, Schwab, and any other platform that offers crypto products. And they're essential to the operation of Bitcoin funds offered by BlackRock, ARK Invest, Grayscale, MicroStrategy, and nearly a dozen others. Layer 2s have made triple-digit and quadruple-digit gains for investors, and this report will show you how to position yourself for what's likely to be the biggest round of profits yet. It's all part of your subscription. The moment you click the button below, you'll get to step inside and see what Crypto Cycle is all about. Again, both of these reports are yours when you become a VIP annual subscriber. In my view, they're worth the price of the subscription all on their own, but I'll let you be the judge.
Well, these are outstanding bonuses. They're truly worth every penny. But that's not all you'll receive when you become a subscriber of CryptoCycle, not by a long shot. For starters, you'll be able to follow along with Chris as he turns $50,000 into $1 million in less than 2 years.
That's right, John. This isn't an exaggerated claim. I believe in my research, heart and soul, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. That's why I wrote a check for $50,000 of real money and put it in a trading account on Coinbase. Here's what I'm trying to do. I'm on a mission to turn this $50,000 into more than $1 million. And I'm hoping to accomplish this goal within the next 2 years. Certainly, the Bitcoin halving is going to play a major role in making this happen. But I've got a broad portfolio with a number of carefully researched picks. And my readers can follow me dollar for dollar, trade for trade as I make these moves.
Yes, well, this has definitely been one of the most popular features of CryptoCycle. So Chris keeps a spreadsheet of his real money portfolio right on the front page of the CryptoCycle website. It's updated in real time, so you can see exactly what Chris is doing and when. And then I should also add that this feature has been popular with both beginners and advanced crypto traders as well, because it takes all of the hard work out of it. Chris does all of the legwork, and all you have to do is shadow his lead move by move. In fact, I currently have some of my own money invested, and it's already paid off. Following Chris's lead, in last year, I bought into Solana at $8.88, and it's grown over 500% since then. And let's not forget, as I mentioned at the beginning, that I can also personally vouch for the quality of Chris's recommendations, since he led me to 1,033% crypto gains during the last crypto boom. I should add that I've actually made a further 6 figures on his recommendations since then. So the service is called Chris Curl's Crypto Cycle. Whatever your experience level is with crypto, this publication is for you.
Here's what you'll receive when you become a subscriber: 24 action packed issues a year. Twice a month, you'll receive a 1,000 word plus issue that's loaded with insights from across the crypto space. I also include how to posts on ways to invest. Trade alerts. Then, whenever I make a trade, a buy or sell, you'll get a trade alert. We also have a section on the Crypto Cycle website that keeps track of all these alerts in one place. I usually issue 1 to 2 trades a month, sometimes more, depending on where the opportunities are. Quarterly video call-ins. And then every single quarter, I host a video call-in. During this exclusive event, I'll bring you up to speed on what I see ahead for the next quarter. And then, most important of all, I answer your questions. You can email them to me ahead of time, or you can ask them in real time, right during the event using the event chat box. You'll hear questions from other like-minded readers as well. It's a fun and rewarding time. And I should add, I've shared recommendations during these call-ins that have led to instant 300% gains. Crypto U. And then there's also my educational series called Crypto U. This is a collection of reports, videos, and walkthroughs that give you all the must-know on crypto. It includes the basics, like how to set up a crypto wallet, how to create secure passcodes, and store your assets. It also covers advanced topics like NFTs, how to use exchanges and aggregators, how to stake your cryptos and earn interest on them. You can make as much as 15% in interest a year staking some of these cryptos. So this is some truly valuable material. You'll get all of this and more the moment you become a subscriber.
Well, those are some outstanding features. And you'll receive it all at a fair price that's a lot lower than you might expect. The moment you click the button below, you'll be taken to a short order form that has all of the pricing details. And this includes our publisher's 100% satisfaction guarantee. So you'll get a full 60 days to give everything a try. That's plenty of time to see Chris's $50,000 real money portfolio, to watch his videos, and to read the latest issue of Crypto Cycle. We think you'll love what you see. But if you find it's not for you, no hard feelings. You can get every single penny back. So all you have to do is give us a quick call and we'll give you a full refund. Simple as that.
That's right. The returns from crypto investments have completely changed my life, and I think they can do the same for you. But if that's not the case, I think you'd still be happy you gave it a try. Crypto is changing everything we know about the financial world, and Bitcoin's fourth halving is going to change it again and likely lead to the biggest returns we've seen yet. Something this big deserves your time and attention. So you've got nothing to lose, and my Bitcoin breakthrough playbook is yours to keep, whatever you decide.
Well, there it is. It doesn't get much better than that. All 3 Bitcoin halving events have led to outrageous returns for early investors. And the fourth halving is a once-in-a-lifetime historical event. We're just weeks away from what could truly be life-changing gains. Chris's Bitcoin Breakthrough Playbook will show you everything that you need to know. So thank you so much for watching. All you have to do is click the button below to get started, and we look forward to seeing you on the inside.